React is the most popular JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Today, you'll learn how to create a React app with Vite, how React works, and essentials to get you started. If you have any questions or run into any problems, leave me a descriptive comment below so I can help you out. Now, let's create a React app. First, select a folder where you want to create this project. The folder name will serve as your project title, so name it accordingly. Open the folder in a code editor. I'll be using Visual Studio Code, and that's the one I recommend to you. Then open the terminal in your code editor, open a new command prompt, and close the PowerShell. Today, we'll set up a project using Vite, which is the fastest and easiest way. To ensure this works, you will need to make sure that you have Node.js and npm installed. Use the commands node-v and npm-v to make sure they are both installed successfully. If a version is not appearing, it means you need to navigate to nodejs.org and install it on your system. The link to the install will be available in the description. That install will include both Node and npm. Now that we know Node and npm are installed, let's type npm create Vite at latest and press enter to create our React app with Vite. Then type a period and press enter to use the current folder for your project. Next, you want to select the React framework. For our variant, I recommend using JavaScript if you are new to React. To install the needed dependencies, we need to type npm install and press enter. Once the installation is complete, notice your project structure displaying in the top left in the File Explorer. Now we need to test our React installation to see if it's functioning. To do so, we need to type npm run dev and press enter to run our locally hosted server where we can view the React and Vite default code. Hold Control and then click the localhost link to open the live server. If this displays in your browser, you have successfully set up React using Vite. Now let's talk about how React works. In React, everything starts with a component. The most common starting point is the app.jsx file. This is your main UI component. When you set up your React app, this component will automatically be created. Here is where all content you are seeing in the live server is located. Next up is the main.jsx. This file tells React to take your app component and render it onto the web page. The create root part is grabbing an element from the HTML file and injecting your React app into it. The root element is located in your index.html file. This is simply an empty div with an ID of root, and this is where React puts your app. Finally, the package.json is like the brain of your project. It stores the name of your app, all the dependencies like React itself, and the scripts you can run like npm run dev that we used earlier. Let's go back to our app component and create something. Here we can see that our app.jsx is a functional component because of the function keyword. The code here looks similar to HTML, but it's actually JSX. This means that there are a few differences, and we can see one of those differences here if we notice class name instead of class. To simplify this, let's remove the first three lines at the top, the use state under the function keyword, and all of the default code in the return statement. Notice that I left the fragment within the return statement. This is because the code in every component needs to be inside of a wrapper element. Here, a fragment is being used, but we could use a div if we wanted to. In the live server, all of the default code is now gone and we are left with a blank canvas. Back in our component, we can see the app.css being imported in the app component. This CSS file is where you can create custom styling for your app component. Let's delete all of the default styling here and do the same in the index.css. In our app, I'll create an h1 element with a class name of title, which will display the text Kalman Web Design. For the image, I'll store the file in the assets folder. Once the image is in place, I'll import it using a custom variable name from the Assets folder. To display the image, I'll create an image element and use the src attribute to reference the imported image by its custom name, wrapped in curly braces. This will allow the image to be rendered within the component. Both are now displaying on the live server. In the app CSS, I will target the title class name and change the font size, and target the image element and adjust its width. Notice the changes in the live server. Alright, now you know how to create a basic React app and how it works. Start messing around the code so you can really learn what's going on and see what you can come up with. Check out the videos down below in the description for more in-depth React tutorials. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you guys out. Let me know if you need anything in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.